Hi everyone, how are you? Today we're going to be speaking about one of my favourite subjects, and that's shoes.
I'm Aleksandra Olenska, and I've worked as a creative director and stylist for luxury brands including Chanel, Celine and Vanessa Bruno, as well as magazines including Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. And I've been featured in international press including Forbes, Elle, The Sunday Times and The Independent. I now help directors and leaders in midlife and beyond to rebalance that work, busy lifestyle you've become accustomed to. Because you know life's too short to stay in that career-driven comfort zone. I help you to redesign and restyle your life, especially at midlife with life-changing transitions, such as the breakup of relationship, divorce, menopause, or turning 40 and beyond. From your home and your wardrobe to your mind and social life, I help you with your stylish next chapter to step into your best life, because I know you're ready to rock life again.
So some of you have been asking for a tour of my shoe closet, and then I started to think about that, and I just sort of opened up my Narnia wardrobe that contains many of my shoes and realised that if I were to do a video about all of my shoes, I do have a rather extensive collection. It would probably run into an hour, so I'm just going to start off today with some of my favourite shoes, and that also includes one of my golden guidelines, which is some of my sparkly shoes. Yesterday it was the Chanel cruise show. I think I was subconsciously influenced by that. It's all over my Instagram feed, maybe not that subconsciously then, and I put on my juicy jumbo Chanel pearl necklace, which always fills me with joy, and I love the fact that it kind of shines some flattering glowing light, at least I like to think it does, onto my face. And my skirt, which actually isn't Chanel, it's a tweed skirt from Proenza Scuola, one of my favourite brands of all time. I love their take on sort of elegant style, but it's always really modern. Love what they do. I hope here the light is good. They finally removed the boarding from the offices opposite, which was in works for the longest time, so it's much brighter now, thank goodness. I've got my morning coffee, my black coffee. I've got a Seiko coffee machine. Oh my goodness, it's one of my favourite things of all time. And I love these little French glasses. They're so handy to have around. I just have stacks and stacks of them because they stack up really easily, and they're made of a really durable, quite heavy glass. I think the French brand is called Duralex. They're made in France. I remember these from when I was at school, but they're just a really handy thing to have around when you have parties. If you've run out of wine glasses, perfect. Also great for throwing into your panier, your basket, for an impromptu picnic in the Tuileries down the road or the Palais Royal. They're just fantastic things to have around. So, Okay, so onto the shoes. I have to confess that while I love the idea of elegant classical style that's often categorized as French style, I think it's really important to find your own take on French style or on elegant sort of classical style, so that we feel elegant and relevant as opposed to sort of a bit blah and a bit irrelevant, which some of us can feel at midlife. You know, I have many lovely ladies who say to me, oh, you know, I started to feel invisible, or, you know, I lost my sense of self, or my sense of style, my sense of being. I do think it's important to find your own take, your own twist, I call it. It's one of my golden guidelines, find your twist. You know, things like your accessories, your jewellery, ways of changing up your more classical pieces to make them distinctly your own. So really this video is about my very non-French shoe collection that nevertheless I really wear in Paris. I have to say things have changed in Paris. You know, it's a real walking city, especially recently with all of the grève, the strikes, the manifestation. You know, there's been so many strikes and things going on here, and they really go for it. You know, often with strikes here, which actually I'm quite affected by that because I've got Avenue de l'Opéra just a few streets here behind me, so you can hear the chants and you can see the smoke sometimes. Gosh, it all sounds quite dramatic, doesn't it? I have to say, it's a bit of frustrating, and the public transport doesn't work properly at that moment, etc. It's a bit frustrating, but you don't feel in danger. You know, it's just part of French culture. I remember once having a working lunch in a restaurant on Invalides. I've forgotten the name of it. Anyway, it's a beautiful restaurant, part of the Cost group. So, you know, the food is, you know what you're going to be getting with the food. But it's a lovely restaurant with an amazing view of the Invalides. If you're visiting Paris, it's a lovely terrace to sit on as well. and take in that view. And I was in there for lunch one day with a colleague or for a business meeting, I don't quite remember. And suddenly there was a manifestation, and I remember they just locked the door, served us all some extra drinks, and we were locked in for the duration of the manifestation as it went by, which, that's part of life in Paris, and everybody just accepts that. And I remember at the end of all of the people going by, they had like their own little sort of food carts, because, you might be walking for a long time in that manifestation, so they need to feed their strikers. So very, very French. Anyway, whether you're taking part in a manifestation or not, which I am not, and I'm definitely not in these shoes, Paris is a real walking city. So things have changed, and it's now perfectly acceptable to wear sneakers in Paris on a day-to-day. It used to be that you would only wear sneakers if you'd been to the gym. Now that's not the case. Sneakers, like everywhere, have become quite fashionable to wear with dresses, with your everyday looks, and the Parisians have embraced that. So don't feel that you have to wear fancy shoes when you come to Paris. I sometimes wear my sneakers. I love my Birkenstocks, especially ones with a bit of extra. The leopard spot ones, the sparkly ones, the jewel ones like the Manolo Blahnik ones, beautiful. But my favourite shoes to wear are not classic, they are not discreet, they are blingy, bling, bling. I love to bring a bit of bad taste, which is also one of my golden guidelines. Find your twist and allow yourself to indulge in a bit of bad taste. It doesn't always have to be refined and classical and elegant. That's lovely, but it can also get a bit boring and really allow you to only show one side of yourself. And especially at midlife and beyond, we want to show all of our beautiful facets so that we can shine and sparkle into the world and let our light out, and not just through our choice of footwear. This is one of my favourite pairs of shoes. Oh, can you see that light flare there catching the shoe? These are from Miu Miu, and I've had them for years. I love these bags. The shoe bags. I don't always use them, and sometimes I recycle them into when I'm traveling, because I don't like packing cubes, as some of you know from some of my packing videos, such as my packing for Mexico video. But I love these bags. I just think they're really practical for, like, I've got one for cables, or one for hair bubbles, or one for accessories. They're just so brilliant for traveling. However, I do keep some special shoes in them, including these Miu Miu shoes. Aren't they fantastic? And I love the heel height. It's like an 8 centimetre, so for me that's a reasonable height. Although I prefer a 6 for every day, or a 4. A 6 is perfect for me. But this has got a lovely chunky heel. They're very stable. In Paris there's still loads of old beautiful cobbled streets, so especially around here. So I'm in the Palais Royal area, so it's really quite old. As you know, this building here is from the 1700s, so everything is a bit higgledy-piggledy. The stairs are quite drunk as you walk upstairs, so especially if you've been out for a lovely dinner and a few too many glasses of wine, we do want more stable shoes, even if you're taking taxis, which I'm not all the time. And I have to say, the mayor of Paris, she has introduced many bicycle routes and so forth, but my God, it's hard to get around these days if you're not on foot or taking the metro, which I suppose was her idea. So when I'm walking around, one of my favourite shoes for just every day are these sandals. You can see they're a bit dusty because I've been walking around the Tuileries in them. The Tuileries have got like quite dusty paths. And I'm glad that they maintain those, actually. It reminds me of, all of those elegant ladies of the Belle Epoque sort of gracefully showing off their long swishy dresses that trailed through the dirt of the Tuileries at the turn of the century, when it was the big Universal Exhibition, which was held in Paris. So these are actually from Zara. I think they're probably a copy of Miu Miu ones. I think my favourite shoes are from Miu Miu. It's such a quirky brand, and it's so peculiar, but I always find great things there for my personal taste. I absolutely adore these. I would buy them again and again in different colours if they did them. They're so practical. They've got a little bit of frumpy factor because they're lovely and wide and comfortable. They're quite soft. They don't rub my feet. They don't give me blisters, and they've got these lovely juicy jewels on. So these make me really happy. So I think that the jewels just add a bit of fun and don't make me feel frumpy at all. And they go with everything from my silk trousers that I love, like lounge pants, to skirts and dresses. They're just a really great everyday walking around Paris shoe. So yeah, I've had them for a few seasons from Zara. So Zara, if you're watching, love to do those again, or Miu Miu. If you did them, I would buy them too. They're fantastic shoes. So some of my shoes I still keep in the shoe boxes. I've tried different things out, as I'm sure many of you have, with my shoes. From keeping them in boxes, in stacks, and inside my wooden wardrobe, which is actually a Normandy oak wardrobe, again, this one's from the 1800s. So I keep them in shoe boxes in my Narnia wardrobe. But then there's also the overflow, and then there's just like mountains of shoe boxes in places, and sometimes I just have to take them down, and like they all tumble, and it's not a great system. But the apartments in Paris are quite small, and I probably have got too much stuff for the size of my apartment. Confession corner. But anyway, and sometimes they've got Polaroids on them, but very rarely, because that was a phase, and you know, life's too short, so I don't always get around to that. I got these shoes last year, and the reason I got them was because and the reason I got these is because of the heel height. Is my ideal heel height of 6 centimeters, and they're super, super soft. Now, I don't know this brand, Serena Uziel. I did look on her website and on other shoes on Matches Fashion where I got these, and I didn't find the other shoes as charming. And I guess that's something significant here is, you know, Miu Miu is really my go-to for shoes, but sometimes you never know where you're going to find great things. That's why I love Matches Fashion. I love their edit more than Net-a-Porter, I have to say, because they should present new brands that I maybe don't know about. So it's great. So I got these because they're a 6 centimeter, and I had some old APC gold sandals, and I wore them to death. They are completely, you know, at the end of their life. Even though here in Paris, you know, we do still have that tradition of going to get your shoes fixed and buying different coloured leathers and protectors to protect your shoes, so that people do tend to hold on to them for a long, long time. And actually sometimes my shoes come back from the shoe repair shop and they stay in these paper bags to protect them when they're kind of squashed into my cupboard, if there's a boxless shoe hanging about. So no matter how many times, you know, they'd really come to the end of their life, the gold APC ones. So I was after something to replace them, and I can feel that these are so soft that they're not going to give me blisters. And you can wear them in different ways because they strap up the leg or around my ankle. So I think they're really, really beautiful. So you can tell that these are new in my collection because they've got a leather sole, which many of my shoes do, my walking shoes, and I've not had the rubber sole put onto them. So when I do buy a new pair of shoes, I do get a rubber sole put on them straight away, like you can see on these Miu Miu ones. And I've worn these a lot, by the way. And it just helps them to grip, especially in Paris, where there are cobbles and you can slip on them, especially when it's raining. It's rainy sort of season at the moment. You never know when it's going to rain, and I'm often forgetting to take an umbrella, so things can get a bit slippery. This isn't like a massive help, but it's much better than wet leather, and it also helps to prolong the life of your shoes, so love that. So I've got through so many of these. I love it. It's really one of my favourite things. I remember I used to buy the Smythson A5 notebooks that were covered in moire silk. Not entirely practical, but so beautiful. So this is like an 8 centimeter heel, so it's not like super high. And again, just super easy to wear. They also came in a tan brown, but naturally I had to go for the silver. And this is a great sort of transitional shoe.